All right, welcome back to Three in the Key, brought to you by Fine Bet. Me and two of the coolest dudes in sports journalism break down the NBA from matchups to social media shade to fashion. I'm Dan Tran. I'm back. Joining me is Henry Curry, a.k.a. Henny Curry in Southern California, and the intern extraordinaire, Nahom Godzilla, a.k.a. Nahom Godzilla, casting out of Alexandria, Virginia. Yo, I heard you had those finals last week. Don't worry about it, dog. C's get degrees. Who cares?
Just got done.
All right, guys, let's move it. We got a packed ass show today. So let's move forward. Let's talk about some NBA headlines. Guys, LeBron James is sitting out another 2 weeks to nurse his sore ankle. This is the same ankle that he suffered a high ankle sprain on, and he already missed a month of action due to the injury. And in the 2 games he played, he only averaged 17.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. Now, that's not elite LeBron James numbers. I mean, he looked limited in movement. It didn't look right. So, he's kind of shutting it down. And, since he shut it down, he said that he might not be the same with this injury now. I mean, that's scary for Lakers fans and NBA fans in general. I mean, imagine an NBA where LeBron James isn't an elite player. I can't even imagine a world like that. I feel like we got Christmas taken away. But, for how much we talk about his instincts and his court vision and scoring, people don't really talk about how much of an Iron Man he really is. I mean, he missed 20 games his first year with the Lakers, but, he had no other major injury stints prior to those 15 years. So, high ankle sprains are no joke. Father time in general is undefeated. Eventually all NBA careers come to an end. So my question to you guys is this the end of elite LeBron James? I want to ask you, Henry.
No. I don't think so. Because right before his high ankle sprain, we were talking about him being an MVP candidate. So I think people are too quick to forget that was this season, that we're like LeBron is somehow still in the conversations for MVP, high ankle sprain. And now, I feel like we're just not used to this, to LeBron being in the cycle of getting injured and then, slowly coming back, not being 100%. It's happening to AD right now. Are we going to talk about AD kind of being done in his career in his elite level? No, because we know they're barely coming back from injury, getting readjusted and everything. And we all know LeBron's an extraordinary player when it comes to being an Iron Man and just, taking care of his body. I think the $1 million that he invests into his body every year, they count out for something. I don't think he's done yet. He's still averaging 25 points and 7 assists this season. And if this is his down year, 25 points, is a down year. That's an MVP year for any other player in the league. So that's just to put into perspective. Nahom, what do you think? Do you think LeBron will be back in time for the playoffs though?
I think LeBron will probably come back probably for that play-in game if they do make the play-in game. I mean, if they are a 7 or 8 seed. But I also agree. I don't think it's the end of LeBron. I just don't want to be in. First of all, I don't want to believe that. LeBron, ever since I've been watching basketball, LeBron just always there. Apart from that 1 year, like you said, his first year at the Lakers and his first year back with the Cavs. I remember he was also hurt for that year too. But no, I don't think so. I believe in LeBron. I think he can get in. I think they can make a playoff run.
Yeah, Henry, you were talking about, $1 million spent on his physical well-being. I mean, that's also, he spent money on his mental well-being too. I'm pretty sure that he's probably, seeing sports psychologists and, getting his mental right too. He doesn't overlook any sort of factor when it comes to his performance. So, in this situation, he's saying that he might not be the same. Do you think that it's he's setting lower expectations for himself so that he can just bust through and, be his normal self afterwards? Or do you legitimately think that he thinks that he's not going to be the same?
I don't believe it. I wouldn't. Even Kendrick Perkins didn't believe it. I don't know if you guys saw his take on First Take, and I completely agree with him, because if you want to take that at face value, where LeBron is saying he's not going to be near where he used to be, or who the player that we know that he is, I'm like, how true is that? Because he is LeBron. Two, I think he is the most durable player aside from Andre Miller in the NBA, because Andre Miller was an Iron Man himself. He was an old man balling, not like LeBron, but for NBA fan veterans who knows who that is. I feel like, is he playing reverse psychology? With his opponent.
Right? I just think that quote's taken out of context. I think he meant by that by playing in the NBA, you're always like roughed up and you're always injured. I don't think he actually meant I'm like out of my prime because I don't think LeBron would ever say something like that. I don't think he
Yeah,
meant it
like
that.
that's not LeBron. What do you
That's the
think?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan.
Like,
As
I
a
don't think he
Lakers
believes
fan.
that either. Like when you said that, I was just like, wait a second, you're like the baddest dude in the NBA for the last like at least like 10 years, right? At least
Yeah,
like even longer. So it's
yeah.
like I don't think that he really believes that. I think he's just setting those expectations low, and once he gets back to normal, he's be like, I'm just that good, guys. Like I think it's just one of those things where he's just setting the bar low. But say worst case scenario, say this high ankle sprain is just as bad as everybody has kind of made it out to be, and kind of panicking. Like I'm panicking, like as a Laker fan. Like if you guys on the outside looking in, if we get pretty good LeBron James, but not elite LeBron James, is that still enough to win a championship with the Lakers right now?
I think so because pretty good LeBron James is averaging 25 and 7. And like I said, those numbers put into perspective, that's a below average LeBron James. And that's an extraordinary player for any other player in the NBA. So for you guys, mediocre is excellence for other franchises. So and this is coming, like I always say, this is coming from a Celtics fan, but I think LeBron, he's BSing. Like to be straight honest, like I think he's playing. He knows the league better than anybody. He's been the face of the league for more than a decade now, or for a decade now. And I think it's just safe to say like he knows how to get to his opponents, especially knowing he might be in the play-in tournament. We can talk about him complaining about the play-in tournament because they might be in and out and everything, but it's all an on and off court game. It's like who wins not only the physical game. We can talk about statistics all we want, but it's all about the mental game too. We saw what happened. Before 3-1 leads being taken away and everything. So it's a whole psyche game too, and I think LeBron's playing into it. But Dan, do you think that's the case? As the Laker fan, do you think that may be the case?
I mean, as a Laker fan, I'm one of the most like uncocky Laker fans, in which I actually criticize the team a lot more than like a lot of fans probably should. So like, it was interesting to me what you said, because like in my mind, I'm like, okay, so what you're saying is that he's like psychologically flopping for his opponents, basically.
Pretty much. I mean, if that's a thing, and yeah, I hate when LeBron flops, but I'll give it to him. Like, come on, he has the most experience in this league, especially when you look at its competition into the playoffs. Like, I think we can all agree that I think almost 20 years of experience is gonna give you the leverage and how to mentally prepare and kind of be nonchalant about the playoffs because like where you're at and where your team is at. Now, what do you think? Do you think LeBron is kind of just messing with people's minds, or?
I just think LeBron has that on and off switch. I think once the playoffs come, I think he can just flip it on and average 37 and 7, like 30, 10, and 10. Once he gets to that Western Conference Finals, once he gets to that finals, I think great players like Hall of Famers like Kobe, MJ, once they get to that finals, they can just flip a switch and go back to their prime, like LeBron, prime MJ. Because like the 2016 finals, people were saying he's out of his prime, and he was jumping at the gym, like on that block, on the dunks, everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. Everything. All right. So like, let's say the Lakers, now that, LeBron James has shown to be a little human, who are they targeting in free agency now to kind of like be like, okay, well, maybe LeBron James doesn't have it for another, 4 or 5 years, like we probably hoped he would. So like, what do you think the free agent targets are for him? Because like on my list, I'm looking at Kawhi Leonard, Drew Holiday, who has a player option, Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul, who I think has a player option, and then DeMar DeRozan. Those are the 5 names I think the Lakers should be looking at in order to see, maybe if they want to come and, play with LeBron James and see if LeBron James can hold up for another year. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you guys think?
I think Chris Paul and DeMar DeRozan are the top 2.
Banana boat.
Yeah, Chris Paul. They've been always talking about playing together, like for their whole career. And I think Chris Paul knows his time is dwindling down to get a championship. He's been trying to get that ring for years. So if he doesn't get it in Phoenix this year, I think he's definitely going to LA to go team up with LeBron. And with DeMar DeRozan, he's from the LA area. He hasn't been struggling with the Spurs. The Spurs haven't been up to par. Like they're not a top 8 seed. So I think he's gonna go to LA also just to get that ring that he missed out missed out on in Toronto. So I think Chris Paul and DeMar.
And he could get it in his hometown. That'd be kind of sick.
Yeah.
And Henry, like, what sort of free agency moves do you think the Lakers should be looking at in the offseason, just in case LeBron James isn't the same?
I think they will look at Chris Paul. I mean, I think Chris Paul and LeBron have that chemistry off the court. It's Chris Paul's birthday today, and I don't know if you guys saw LeBron's post. They're buddy, they're best friends off the court. So having that on the court relationship where they can have that chemistry, and it's Chris freaking Paul, like, man,
still playing at an MVP level apparently.
Yeah, 100%. It's just like someone brought up a great point. Like, Chris Paul is putting up Steve Nash MVP numbers, and Steve Nash was an MVP, and everybody was like, yeah, like, maybe he stole it from Kobe. That's debatable. But it's just like, I'm like, so we're just going to disregard, Chris Paul's numbers as in, like, they're not MVP type. Look at Steve Nash. He's won 2 back-to-back MVPs, like, with those type of numbers, And obviously, the Lakers will benefit automatically having another, not just a floor general, but like a leader like that. I think Chris Paul is one of the best leaders the NBA has ever seen. And if he's partnered with LeBron, especially at the ending of his career, I can see them winning maybe 2 rings. It depends on how LeBron's, physically playing, because there's up and coming teams. The Jazz are going to get better. The Nuggets are going to get better. And who else? And the Mavericks are inevitably going to get better. So it's going to be tough for the West, but I don't think we should count the Lakers out at all when LeBron's there. When LeBron retires, and we can talk about restructuring the whole LA and the whole Lakers organization. But until that time, I think it's not time to push the panic button just yet.
No, that's fair. I mean, I feel better talking to you guys, even though you guys hate the Lakers. I'm okay with it. You guys make me feel a lot better. That made me feel a lot better, man. I mean, we're talking about point guards now, all right? So the point guard debate had a new entry. Scott called Russell Westbrook the second greatest point guard of all time, right behind Magic Johnson. And, it inevitably started this just firestorm of debate because Westbrook is such a polarizing player. But let's look at his resume, guys. He's a 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 9-time All-NBA. He is an MVP, 2-time scoring champ, 2-time assist champ, and he's on his way to a 3rd this year. And 4 times he's averaged a triple-double. And the only other player to do that, average triple-double at least, is Oscar Robinson. And he only did that once. So, I mean, those are pretty great credentials. He doesn't have an NBA championship like Magic Johnson does. I mean, Magic has like 5. So it's going to be tough to kind of touch that number. But in terms of being second best, how far along do you think his resume is in attaining that? Because I have some names that I kind of want to say would probably deserve on that number 2 spot more. Let's go with Henry first.
I don't think Russell Westbrook is number 2, but I was watching a debate earlier on this very topic, and let's be honest, like, Magic Johnson is hands down the greatest point guard of all time. I think he's a definition of a point guard, especially because he's 6'9" and can run the floor, like a deer. He was a unicorn in himself, but Russell Westbrook is putting up numbers that I don't think Magic Johnson would put up on the regular, and he, like I said, he put up triple doubles and everything, but he averaged for 3 straight seasons. Russell Westbrook averaged a triple double. He's averaging another triple double this season in his wash season.
Right.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. It was just so much slander that the Wizards were going through a lot of COVID things, injuries. What Russell Westbrook was coming back from an injury, and now look at the level he's playing at. So that's why, bringing it real back to the LeBron thing, you guys are going to be fine. Look at what Russell Westbrook's doing. I'm sure LeBron will be fine, but I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I think the Wizards, they lock in a play-in position because I want to see them in the playoffs. I think we all want to see a Russell Westbrook versus Kevin Durant first-round series. Yeah. I think, and Naum, if somehow Westbrook and the Wizards pull that off, and NBA Twitter is gonna be insane that day. But I would rank him. I think I would rank him in the top 5 all time.
Yeah, I mean that's good, but I mean I don't know number 2 though. No, what do you think?
Not number 2.
I think number 2 is definitely Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I think Steph Curry, 7-time All-Star, scoring champ, and he's getting another scoring champ this year. And then the first unanimous MVP. Like, none of those guys have that. Steph Curry, I think a lot of people lost respect for Steph Curry in the past 2 years. And I think KD coming to the Warriors kind of hurt Steph's legacy. I mean, it helped, obviously, but in a way where Steph Curry wasn't the best player on the team. So I think Steph is number 2. And then we got John Stockton. I think Westbrook is in that 4 or 5th spot. I love Westbrook. As it was his friend.
Yeah, hey, like those are great names. I don't know about you guys, but we were talking about him earlier, but Chris Paul, point God, come on. Like he has to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
Like at number 2, I think I might have him at number 2. Like this is a guy that we have used as a standard for point guards for the last at least 10 years, right? Like everybody's like, is he better than Chris Paul at the point guard position? I mean, this guy is 11-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA. 4 times he has the assist championship. 6 times has had the steals championship. So he plays both ends of the court. No all defense selections, but neither does Westbrook. For all like we know about him, like playing physical, never was on the all defensive team. So Chris Paul, he's pretty up there too. So we have a lot of names that we have on this list, dude. Guys, I had Jerry West as a name to consider too. I mean, for a majority of his career, he was considered a point guard, according to Basketball Reference. I always thought of him more as a shooting guard, but since Basketball Reference has him more as a point guard, let's look at his resume. So, 14-time All-Star, and he only played 14 seasons. That's like an entire career as an All-Star. That's pretty good. 12-time All-NBA, 1-time scoring champ, 1-time assist champ, 5-time All-Defense, 1-time NBA champ, and then he has 1 Finals MVP. But it wasn't from the year that he won. He was the only player to win a Finals MVP in a losing effort on the losing team. And he's the freaking logo, guys. He's the freaking logo. That is iconic. That is iconic as hell. I think that Jerry West definitely needs to be thrown into that conversation as well. It's not because I'm a Lakers stan, but I think that he definitely deserves his respect. So we haven't even mentioned Steve Nash yet. Like, does Steve Nash deserve to be in the conversation at number 2? Or
for sure.
Like his peak was great, but like I don't know, like for the rest of his career, like playing with the Suns initially, and then with the Dallas Mavericks, like he didn't get like too much playing time, right? So like, is he in that number 2 conversation for you, Henry?
Not number 2. Not number 2 because I agree with the home. For me personally, I think once it's all said and done, Steph Curry is going to solidify his spot as the second best point guard of all time. And because when I think about these rankings, I'm thinking about what player had such a transcendent impact on the league. That's kind of beyond accolades as well. Steve Nash, back-to-back MVP, Western Conference Finals, played with Dirk. But aside from that, he did never win a champ. He never won a championship, and that's kind of like the separating factor. Steph Curry's a 3-time champion. We can talk about KD being on the team all he wants, but KD had the best shooter of all time on his team. That's saying something, about Steph Curry. So, and we're forgetting about Jason Kidd too. Like,
like he was a standard for a while there.
Yeah,
too.
Jason Kidd was like, I think he's the epitome of like he locked down Kobe in the
pure point guard, man. That is like one of the last few pure point guards that the league has ever seen.
And if we're talking about pure point guards, like not even to be biased, but I think Rondo's in the top 10 or top 15 at least. Rajon Rondo, he was the epitome of what a point guard, the definition of a point guard for a while. He was the ultimate floor general in the best span of his Celtics years. And I think it's debatable, and I understand why so. But he was a pivotal factor, in that 2008 squad. I know it's an overrated team, even I agree with all this stuff, blah blah blah. But come on, like if Rondo, I think Rondo, like he's what a point guard is supposed to be. Now the game has changed and everything, so he would be in my top 15, not in my top 10.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's reasonable. Okay, so and then, like if we're talking about that, let's throw in Isaiah Thomas in there too.
Yeah,
I mean, Isaiah Thomas, like big time leader. He didn't have like the advanced stats to really back it up, but this is a guy like on the floor. When he was on the floor, you knew where he was, even though he was 6 foot, and he killed people at 6 feet. So I mean, talking about a guy that has a winning record against Jordan's Bulls and a winning record against Magic's Lakers in the playoffs. This is a guy that should be talked about more in terms of dominance in the NBA, but because he's a jerk, nobody really talks about him like that.
And he had that ankle sprain too. He was playing on one leg too.
Play on one leg, score 25 points, man. Like that was a wild performance. I mean, like give that guy his roses for sure. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about, second best point guards. We can talk like till we're blue about that. I think we all have kind of different picks. I got Chris Paul. You both got Steph Curry. But that's fine. But in terms of your Rushmore, pick four point guards to go on a Mount Rushmore of point guards. Who would they be? I want to go with Henry first.
At 4? Okay. It's going to be Magic for sure. Mm-hmm. I think Magic pioneered the point guard position thoroughly.
And I swear to God, dude, if you say Bob Cousy, I'm going to kill you.
No. That was back in the 40s. That doesn't count. But no, it would be Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, Chris Paul. I'm putting Chris Paul in there because, man, like, I'll get into that. But for the fourth one, I think I would have to put Nahom. Go. Get back to me on that.
See, I'm going to not have Chris Paul in there. I love Chris Paul, but no conference finals, no NBA finals. Like, Westbrook has been in the finals like one time and made 2 conference finals. So I think Westbrook is on there. Westbrook, Magic, Steph, and then for a 4 spot's the hardest, but I'm going to go Jerry West. Jerry West with that finals MVP and the champion in the 14-time All-Stars. And then Steph Curry, obviously. And, yeah, Chris Paul is just – it's tough because Chris Paul is obviously one of the greatest floor generals of all time. But to at least not make a conference finals, like, you got to make a conference finals. I mean, that's just – maybe this year he might make it and he'll be in the top 4, but right now, no.
Yeah, I mean, so my list is definitely Magic. Got to go with Chris Paul. See, this is where my old man shit kind of gets kicked in, right? I'm an old head when it comes to this. There is a very set standard when it comes to point guards. Like, they have to be floor generals. They have to make people around them better. And scoring is like not necessarily the highest priority for me.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand why you guys have Steph in there. He did revolutionize the position, but not in a direction where it's like it behooves, like, it kind of falls within the parameters of a point guard. Like, and I see that, and I'm just like, I respect it. I respect it that you revolutionize what a point guard could be in the modern NBA, but you're more of a shooting guard to me than anything else, right?
I think he kind of like solidified the two guard position where you can interchange between being a point guard and the shooting guard. Yeah, so I think Steph did that, but I understand your point. But in between, the rest of your Rushmore, who would that be?
The rest of the Rushmore would be, let's see. Okay, I'm thinking John Stockton. John Stockton was a bad boy, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Bad boy. Yeah. Like, as much as like we want to like as much as we want to knock him, like, and I know why we want to knock him is because he's a small white guy. But dude, 9-time scoring, 9-time assist champ, dude. That is all time crap. That's all time stuff.
Yeah, he's the all-time leader in assists, right?
And he's an all-time leader in total assists. Yeah, I mean, it's him and Magic, and then you got Chris Paul. My fourth one has to be Jason Kidd if it's by my like standard, right? Where it's like doesn't have to be a great scorer, but in terms of floor general, in terms of leadership, in terms of making the players around him better, I think that Jason Kidd has it on the top. So I mean, we all have different opinions about what a point guard is and what a point guard should be to get on that Rushmore, and I love it. I love that you guys have Steph Curry on there, even though he's more of a shooting guard to me. But
are we considering Allen Iverson? Is he considered a shooting guard?
I was going to say he was also a 2 guard.
Yeah, he was definitely a 2 guard. I love AI though. He's all time in style and all time in swag. I'll get like that. That's for sure. One of the great.
He had little white kids wearing do-rags. Like
white Philly kids wearing do-rags.
Yeah. You can put him in a Rushmore with like Rodman and all them. That's like a different type right there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we should do that. We should do that Rushmore later for sure. All right, so let's talk about the week ahead, guys. So we had a little fold to the week ahead a couple weeks ago. we said we keep track of who would keep picks or who would get picks right and who get them wrong. So I'm not sure what we're going to do at the end of it, like with the information that we have. But we probably will do something. Somebody's going to have to I don't know, like wear a stupid hat or something. But last time we had this, it was the 76ers, Bucks, and the Heat and the Hawks. Henry correctly picked the Bucks to win that first game. Nahom and I went with Philly. So we got a taste of that Philly disappointment. And both Henry and Nahom, they picked the Heat to win the Heat Hawks game. And guess what happened? The Hawks won. And it wasn't Lou Williams. It wasn't Lou Williams going off like I thought he would, but John Collins, Bogdan Bogdanovic, they got 20 points each, or they got 20-point games. Danilo Gallinari and Brandon Goodwin got 17 points each off the bench. So that definitely helped my case. So, Henry and I are up top, 1-1. Nahom, you got some catching up to do, 0-2. It's like maybe you should have studied for this instead of finals. I'm just saying, like, your priorities might not be there, but I'm just playing with you. All right, so let's pick the 3 games this week. All right, so we got Lakers Clippers tonight. Quickly, both teams ended a 3-game skid recently. Lakers held the Nuggets to 89 points. No Bron Schroeder for the Lakers. Maybe no Talen Horton-Tucker. Clippers, they just beat the Raptors 105-100, mostly full strength. What do you guys have? Henry, you first.
Clippers. Yeah.
I hate that I have to pick the Clippers, but I have to pick the Clippers.
I'm gonna go the Lakers.
He knows the strategy. He knows the strategy. He has to
I want to go with the upset and go against y'all. It worked last time for you, Dan, picking the Hawks. So I'm gonna go with the Lakers. AD's been getting called out, so you never know. I think he might turn it around. And
they're using Marcus Gasol more. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
If they use Marcus Gasol more, I think they can slow the game down.
They beat a Denver Nuggets team who doesn't have Jamal Murray, and AD blocked Campazzo. If that was Jamal Murray would hit him with that 2-step, with a sidestep and stuff. Nah, like I think I understand where you come from in the home, but if you want to cash up after that, then I guess.
Well, I mean, so I was looking at that too, but they still have MPJ in Denver, so it's not like the Los Angeles Lakers win was like a total like they were just like playing against a hurt team. They had MPJ who was freaking on fire still. So I think Nahom, I'm going to support your decision. I think you're wrong, but I think I'm going to support it. All right. So speaking of the Nuggets, we got Nuggets Nets on Saturday. So aside from the loss to the Lakers, they won 4 of the last 5, and the Nuggets, they've shown enough depth to perform without Jamal Murray, who's out for the season with a torn ACL. And the Nets, they're sliding though. I mean, they lost their last 3 games, twice to the Bucks. They're missing Harden, but they can win without him. I mean, they're 8-4 in the previous games before the 3-game losing streak without him. So, and they beat the Celtics and the Suns. So, Henry, like with this East-West kind of matchup, who are you seeing coming out of this one? This is a tough one.
This is a tough one because the Nets are proven to be worse without Harden, and Harden's not back yet. But they did go against the reigning MVP and Giannis. And Giannis has been playing. He's been playing very, very solid. Have you guys seen his confidence from beyond the arc? It's gone up, and I think if he keeps that consistent throughout the playoffs, the Bucks can go for a deep playoff run. With that being said, I think that exposed the Nets a little bit more because their defensive prowess is not there. They have KD and Kyrie, but defensively they're not the best team per se. With that, I think I can see the Nuggets coming out of this one just because I don't know, actually. This is actually a tough one.
This is a full strength. I was thinking it. I was like, yo, like this is going to be a tough one for the panel for sure.
Yeah, I'll go with the Nuggets. I can see the Nuggets coming out on top of this one because I could see Jokic kind of exposing down low, exposing the Nets defense down low. So I expect Jokic to have a triple-double for them to get the dub.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the advantage to Nahom since he's in last place, so I'm gonna pick next. I will also pick the Nuggets, just because I think Jokic. I think the Denver Nuggets, they're still trying to figure something out while Jamal Murray's out. So I think MPJ definitely gives them enough of a perimeter presence to kind of dominate, and then Jokic is just going to find everybody else. So and because we've seen that the Nets are not really interested in playing defense during the regular season. So I think that, with Denver, they're going to be looking for a win, and they're going to get it. So I'm going to pick the Nugs.
See, I'm out to disagree again. I got the Brooklyn Nets. I don't see KD letting his team lose 3 in a row. Like, this is a top team, and this is a team of, apart from Harden, still they still have 2 superstars in Kyrie and KD. And I see KD having one of those takeover games and reminding people that the Nets are a force to be reckoned with. I see the Nets coming up on top.
All right. So we're now letting the home catch up a little bit now. So all right. So Heat Celtics. Both winners of 3 of their last 5. Jason Tatum is on one again. I mean, he's averaging nearly 40 points a game since missing that OKC game. Jimmy Butler, he may miss the game with flu symptoms. We don't know. But he already missed one against the Mavs. And this game, I think it's on Sunday. So it'll give him plenty of time to recover, but like I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. But, all things considered, Bam Adebayo is still really good. And, Kendrick Nunn's still scoring pretty well. They got a pretty strong team out there. So, Heat Celtics, who do you got, Henry?
Unbiasedly, I have the Celtics just because, Jason Tatum has been playing out of his mind lately. He had that 60-point performance and that 32-point comeback against the Spurs. And I think the Heat without Jimmy Butler is kind of equates to a Spurs team somewhat, in terms of talent. So if they're able to come back from a 32-point deficit, Jason Tatum's able to have a career night like that, I don't see why he can't have that against the Heat, even though they have history and Bam Adebayo is one of the best defensive players in the league. I can see the Celtics coming out just because Kemba's been playing better, and I'm happy to see that. I gave him a lot of shit. I know I did, but just seeing him finally come into his own when it really matters, it's great seeing that, not just as a Celtics fan, but as I think just an NBA fan because he's a very likable player. So I got the Celtics on that one. Ignore the banner in the back. I'm going all based on statistics.
And biasedly, I will say that the Heat will win. I have no qualms doing this. I did this last week where I'm just like, I have a good feeling about this. This is not like I have a good feeling about this. I just don't like the Celtics. So I'm going to pick the Heat.
No. See, I give the Lakers a little bit of love here and there, and I want you to do the same.
We have to keep the brand going, Henry. We have to keep the brand going. All right. I will say, I will not deny that the Celtics, they are playing ridiculous with Jason. They go as Jason Tatum goes. And Jaylen Brown, he is a great scorer. Kemba Walker's playing a lot better. By all accounts, the smart pick would be the Celtics. But I'm going with the Heat just because I think it's just going to happen. I have a feeling about it, and I think it's going to happen. So, now it's your turn. Who are you going to pick?
I'm going to go with the Celtics. These 2 teams are tied in the standings, but I'm going to have to agree with Henry. I'm going with Henry's team right here. Boston, Tatum's been going off. And, yeah, I love Kemba. Who doesn't love Kemba? I mean, so, and I don't know. Something tells me the Celtics are going to win, just like what Henry said.
No. I like that.
I got no bias, though. I have no bias.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see by the end of the week what happens. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Oh dang! Just dropped my phone. All right, so this episode of 3 in the Key is over. Thank you for listening. Be sure to catch us next Thursday